what's your favorite? How did you get? When will I be? Remember? Was it after? Where did all the garden on? Oh, forget it. Saw a movie, Daniel O'Brien. Two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the After Hours version of Quick Question with Soren and Daniel. This is the Patreon exclusive version, the part where we're a little bit looser, where we loosen that old necktie, we unbutton a couple of buttons from the bottom, actually. So we just trying something new. And we let our hair down and we just talk like old friends. We talk about things that we wouldn't do on the podcast because we're too buttoned up, again, from the bottom. So Daniel, today I want to talk to you quickly about your bachelor party, which was something we celebrated together. It was very fun. I tried to sell you out on the podcast and sandbag you when I made you tell me that you were having a bachelor party and pretended that I was not invited. I thought that was going to pay off really well because what I really hoped was I knew the weekend. I wanted to ask you what you were doing that weekend, and my hope was that you would lie to me. So then I could confront you at the bachelor party, and that would feel really nice in my heart. But we didn't get that opportunity. You were very cagey about it, but only because I found out later you were concerned you were going to be kidnapped in the middle of our podcast to go to your bachelor party. As soon as I brought it up, you were very concerned.
I had been thinking I was going to be kidnapped for my bachelor party for the entire summer, for even beyond that, because my brothers organized the bachelor party with no information from me in advance. And for my brother David's bachelor party, we did, in fact, kidnap him completely. We told him his bachelor party was one weekend in Atlantic City, and that was what we told him it was going to be, and that I wasn't even going to be there because I was in LA and I couldn't afford to fly back. A weekend or two before the scheduled bachelor party, he had a planned beach trip with his fiance at the time and some friends of theirs. So he was already expecting to have a weekend blocked off for that. Instead, he gets home from work and 9 of his buddies pop up out of nowhere with Nerf guns, and we start shooting him with Nerf guns while Flight of the Valkyries plays. We kidnap him and throw him in a car, and his bag has already been packed at that point, and we whisk him away to Montreal, Canada for a very fun weekend. And it was a perfectly executed plan that instilled in me a fear that something similar was going to happen to me. So as soon as, because I didn't initially say I wanted a bachelor party, and then when I did say yes, I would like one, my brothers had already started planning it without my permission. So I knew nothing. I eventually asked them when it was going to be, because I was looking over my shoulder for a kidnapping constantly. I was so nervous about it that I was losing sleep over it. And anytime I had a weekend free or a hiatus from work, I was thinking this might be it. And I like, don't trust anything that anyone says. And even when my brothers said it's going to be Labor Day weekend, that's all the information that we're going to give you, I was still like, that's perfect cover for me to let my guard down all the rest of the time, including the time that you and I were on the podcast, because I thought this is a time that they know I have reserved, so they know where I'll be when I'll be there.
Yeah.
You know, because there were plenty of other times where I could throw a wrench in the works at any minute. You can't keep up with me. I'm Danny 2 feet. I'm Danny 97. I'm going so fast all the time.
Yeah.
And no one knows where I'm going to be at any given time, except when I'm doing the podcast. And I also thought it would make good content if I am kidnapped while on camera. That would be pretty fun for the Patreon. Short
episode.
Yeah. So I was still expecting kidnapping around every corner. So I was a little bit cagey there. I also didn't want to take anyone's surprise away from them. So I didn't want to say how much or how little I knew, or to find out how much or how little you knew.
Yeah.
I saw through you
Pretty quick.
instantly. I
Sucks.
knew
That sucks.
I know. Hey, man. Because there's no way to talk about you not being invited to the bachelor party without being so like realistic and true. When you were saying on the podcast that you didn't know anything about the bachelor party, and what a huge oversight that would be to not invite you. It's like, yeah, that would be a huge oversight. It's that would, like a colossally stupid oversight to show up at a bachelor party, and for them and for my brothers to say like, oh yeah, we didn't, that guy that you talk to every week for an hour,
that was real.
You introduce as your best friend. We didn't think you liked each other. We didn't think there was any chemistry. We thought that was just a work obligation that you'd only committed to because it was so financially lucrative. And so I thought either Soren is invited and he's sandbagging me, or he is not invited, and the only reason that you wouldn't be invited is if the bachelor party was going to be like
right now,
truly just me and my brothers camping or something like that. So I was like, it's one of these two things. It ended up being a very lovely trip. I was taken to Vermont, and I was not kidnapped. I was told to meet at a place. I was told what to pack. We went to Vermont and got a beautiful
which is
house
what you would
on a
prefer.
lake.
I mean,
Yes,
you're not a kidnapping guy. That's not going to be fun
No.
for you. That's going to
No.
freak you out.
Yeah. We did everything that is perfect for a bachelor party. It has everything I liked. All of my my closest and dearest friends were there. There was we hit a bunch of breweries because I like beer. We were on a boat fishing, and I love to be on boats. I love to be on the water, and I love to be fishing. And I especially love that I got to get a bunch of people fishing who haven't fished for like 20 or 25 years.
Yeah.
A lot of my childhood friends who didn't understand previously the appeal of fishing, and now that they were out there and like enjoying it together, I made them fishermen. I was a fisher of men, like another Capricorn I know, and that was huge for me to get to like share fishing with people. And I'm so fucking lame. Another great thing about this bachelor party that I got to take everyone on a 5-mile run, which is what everyone thinks of when they think of bachelor parties. So like running and
morning
beer
run.
and fishing and like a morning run and playing games, playing some poker, playing a little bit of volleyball and a whole lot of shuffleboard and eating good food, all these things, everything that I want in a perfect weekend, including going to sleep at like 10:30. And
you did cash out early a lot. But it was your prerogative. That's what you wanted, and so you did it. It was a really fun weekend. I had a great time. I'd never been to Vermont before, and it was really incredible. Your brothers did an excellent job of organizing this. They did a wonderful job. They also did some cooking and stuff like that. That was phenomenal. I will say we had way more games planned for you. There was a day where we got kind of rained out from outside, so we were inside playing a lot of shuffleboard, and it became clear that like big elaborate games were not going to be the vibe during that day. It was very like, let's just hunker in for a day kind of thing. And we all hung out. We had a great time.
Locked in on shuffleboard.
Yeah, we really loved the shuffleboard at this place we were staying, and we had a great time. But I am sad that I had like some beer Olympics essentially planned. Yeah. That I like wanted to play some different games that were involved a lot of active motions, like not even like beer pong. It wasn't even on the list. There was like games that required a lot of running, a lot of like, and some drinking and teamwork. One of those games is a game famously, I want to say invented by Britannic, or maybe. I don't know if they invented it or if they found it somewhere, but Nick Kocher and Brian McElhenney, they created a game called Flip Cup Charades.
Running Flip Cup Charades.
Yeah. And the way that it's played is that you have a table in a central room. that table has flip cups set up on it, and then there's an arbiter. There's like a ref or a judge there, and their job is to not only make sure that people drink and then flip their cup up, but also to give them their clue, their charades clue, and then they run back to their respective rooms where there's a rest of their team waiting. They get the clue, they go back, they do charades until someone in that room gets the clue, and then that person runs out, and then they do a flip cup, then they get the next clue from that arbiter. Now, there's also no rules against barring other people's doors and stuff like that to make it the possibility of them getting back to that central room nearly impossible. So people are throwing hampers and furniture in front of other people's doors, that kind of thing. It's a very, very fun game. It's fast paced. Everyone's having a great time, even though you're all kind of in central spaces. You're all doing it together. And then there's a list of how many names or how many movies, shows, books, songs are on that charades list. And when one team gets all the way to the end, that team wins, and the arbiter just calls it.
You want to know what's nuts? Is
What?
Googling running flip cup charades. The most perfect result. First of all, is posted on a blog spot on July 2nd, Soren.
Oh.
2013, and it says, running flip cup charades. Could this be the new True American? On the set of Joss Whedon's Much Ado About Nothing with Nathan Fillion and the 2 stars of Britannic, a new game was invented and taught by Britannic. It's a combination of running charades and flip cup where there's 2 groups of people.
They didn't
and you would
invent it
run
there.
to the middle, get your clue, and run back to your group. It sounds pretty fun, I'd say, but thought it was worth a share.
I'm glad that they're getting credit. That is not where they invented it. They invented it long before that. They brought it to that group because we played it before then, before they did Much Ado. Joss Whedon did end up playing it at their house one night.
We played it with him, and he was already well-versed in the game,
Yeah, but he was also really drunk and not very good at it.
Yeah.
So they invented it long before that. I'm glad that they're getting their credit for it. Britannic created this game. We love it. I wanted to play it at your wedding, and what we really wanted to do was in the same way that, sorry, at your bachelor party. In the same way
there's
that
not going to be a ton of room for, I don't know what games you're planning for the wedding.
I'm bringing Secret Hitler to the wedding.
We don't have... You're going to look over in the middle of cake cutting and see that Swaim has set up Settlers of Catan at his table.
It's definitely going to happen. Yeah. In the same way that you call Shay your fiance, I had a list of movies and stuff, I think your brother did too, that all used her name in them. And it's such a shame to watch all of these, a low down dirty shame, to watch all of these go into the trash, that these never got used. And so I wanted to share some of them with you because I want you to just have them.
Okay.
I was gonna start easy with something like The Shay After Tomorrow.
Shay After Tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah. That felt like an easy one. And then I was going to get into Shakespeare in Love, which felt, it's just a bit more complicated because you're not changing anything.
Yeah.
Then I really wanted to go for it. I wanted Eternal Sunshine on the Spotless Mind.
Okay.
Because it's not even
stretch.
It's not even a rhyme anymore.
No.
And I want somebody to have to get to that point. Eternal Sunshine.
Especially because the way this game, if you don't tell people that's the theme, that the theme is Shay names in advance, then they won't immediately know, especially if the first thing they guess correctly is it's a movie and they get Shakespeare in Love, great. And then someone is trying to act out Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah.
And you don't know that there's a theme going on. You will feel gaslit. You will feel completely insane.
100%. You have to I think you'd have to get through a few of the early ones and maybe even establish beforehand, hey, there's a theme to these. And so you get Shawshank Redemption and ones like that where you're setting the tone and then ease into it. Probably with something easier. Probably The Shay After Tomorrow would be the first one you'd have to go with. After you want to establish, oh, I see what it is now. And then you can get to Shawshank, Eternal Sunshine on a Spotless Mind. So I also have, I did some songs Where the Streets Have No Shames. 8 Days a Week.
8 days a week is fun.
And then I didn't know if this would even work, but I really wanted the culminating one to be Shazed and Confused, starring Matthew McConaughey and his famous line, "I keep getting older, and they shade the shame age."
Just as a final in a game that, like, by design has people drinking very quickly and running, and on a day where we've already been drinking,
Yeah.
for you to get into the charades part of it and be like, okay, it's a movie. All right, how many words is it?
Oh boy, a lot. Movie's only part of it. It's actually a quote from a movie, but you got to get all of it. You got to get the star. You got to get, yeah.
And you have to say, and his famous line. And specifically, the line not being all right is
Right.
another wrinkle in this
And it's
shame.
not only that, you're gonna do the first version you think of, which is, I keep
Yeah.
getting older, and they share the same age.
Yeah.
But you're now missing the second one.
no.
There's two of them in there. They shade the shame. Shade the shame age is a really fun thing to say over and over. So anyway, those were some of the favorite. Those were my favorite ones. We had a really long list of them, but like as I was like creating them on the plane, when I get to like things like just how fun it is to say "shade days a week," where I was like,
Yeah.
really feeling it, getting very excited.
Yeah.
We never got to the game. The vibe just wasn't right. You could feel it. We felt it in the day. It was like, this isn't gonna be a Flip Cup day.
Yeah. I mean, we started that day with a 5-mile run, which was more than I could ask for of most people at most bachelor parties. So maybe the idea of then running around some more was not
right.
But I had a blast. It was a perfect weekend for me, and
It was very fun.
I had to bite my tongue a whole lot because there's this is incredibly not bachelor party behavior. There's this book I love that came out recently called Sandwich, and it's about this family that goes to a beach house, and there's like some generational trauma that gets brought up. But a thing that they do that has nothing to do with the plot, because the book is told from the perspective of the mother who is so happy to be there with her husband and her 2 kids and their kids' partners and her grandparents. And a thing that keeps happening in the book is like one of her kids will be saying something. Sometimes it's like a nasty thing that they're saying, or sometimes the kid is not doing anything at all. And they'll have like an italicized part that is just in the woman's inner monologue where she just thinks, "My babies," I think, but don't say. And just like her being like the daughter was like, "Mom, you really need to butt out. This is none of your business. Look at her cheeks. Look at her sweet cheeks. I love her so much." Just like the mother being like privately, silently overcome with how much she loves her children. Many times during the bachelor party weekend, I was thinking but not saying, "It's all my guys together in one spot. Look at that. It's my childhood friends and my brothers and Soren, and they're all together mingling and they're making little jokes to each other."
I mean, this is
Soren's using familiar last name usage with this guy. It's
so that's like super common, I think, for a bachelor party in which you have a conglomerate of people. You got people that wouldn't ordinarily hang out all together because any individual person has different friend networks, but they want people from each of those friend networks to be there because it's, you're here for me. Like, this will be fun. And I think that probably it doesn't always work out. I think that sometimes there's just not a lot of things that jive between those people. Your bachelor party was immediately familiar and fun, and people who didn't know each other were suddenly like, we just getting along great. So it was wonderful.
Folks.
Yeah. Turns out you chose good friends, Daniel. Your parents must have been so happy.
Yeah. And,
all along the way.
Chose good brothers too. I have less control over that, but
they chose those for you.
They're pretty
really
good guys too. Yeah.
I would even argue probably a little out of their control too.
Yeah. That's probably enough for the Patreon, right? I think there were a lot of people who I know from comments and from people in my real life, because of the recording schedule of this podcast, we recorded the pre-bachelor party episode, and then another episode was recorded that was released, and then another episode with Jason Pargin was recorded and released, and now we've recorded 2 other episodes and we will release those. And at this point, months will have passed, and we don't bring up the
You'll be
Bachelor party
married
again.
by the time.
And if you're not on the Patreon, you might never hear about it.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
So there are still going to be people.
We're like,
the same way
Soren
that
didn't
for
get
the
invited to dance bachelor party.
right. The same way that the first 5 years of this podcast were people writing in the comments, what is the present that Soren got Daniel for his birthday? When are they going to reveal it? Now there's a new game that they'll play, which is, wait, did Soren seriously not go to the bachelor party? What happened?
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for subscribing to our Patreon. Thank you for
Hell yeah.
your donations, because boy, do we need it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next one.
I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favourite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all the other weeks on? Oh, forget it. Soren, Bowie, Daniel O'Brien. Two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.